What up, y'all? Randy Silver here, Warriors Digest. We have a lot of news to get to today, and we're going to break it down for you. I got a new ticker to show to break it down. Today's top stories. Steph's comments on Klay. At USA Basketball Camp, him and Steve Kerr did a big interview. Steph put his feelings out about Klay Thompson, and we're going to talk about what he said. Secondly, Paul George on his podcast P spoke about almost joining the Warriors. He gave amazing insight into his contract negotiations and how close it was to becoming a Warrior. We're going to break that down. And then lastly, free agent tracker for you. We're going to go over all the free agents who have signed since July 1st and who is still out there for the Warriors to get. I think we need a big man, and there's a lot of 7-footers out there who we could get. So all that and more coming up on this episode of Warriors Digest. Before we get into it, I want to just say thank you again to all the comments. I took down the Biggie photo. I know some people are saying, hey, he's an East Coaster, West Coaster. It was a sentimental gift to me. I had it up there, but I like y'all's feedback. I get it. Secondly, other comments about the channel from Ruben Rodriguez. Yo, bro, I just started following you. Became a fan instantly. You really have been giving every single update. Thank you, man, from the Dominican Republic. Thank you from the DR. We had someone from Brazil earlier. Love it. At TLR Flava, great channel, best Warriors channel. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the comments. And lastly, if you're not part of the 14% subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so you're part of the great channel. You get news daily. And I guess I got one more thing as well before we get into it. I see a lot of comments saying, hey, recycling information. We're not recycling information here. It's new updates in a different light. For example, DeMar DeRozan traded to the Kings. Kings were a major player in the Lauri Markkanen sweepstakes. Well, you know what? They're out of it now, so we got to share that. And also, you may be more plugged into the Warriors than someone else, so I got to make sure Warriors fans of every day plugged in, beat writer status, to maybe this is the only way they get the Warriors news. Got to make sure they know everything happening, and that's what we're here for on Warriors Digest. And that starts with today's topic, Steph Curry. Look how good this man looks in a USA jersey. Woo! Love to see it. His first thing was talking about being a part of the dynasty. And he said, I don't think it will be replicated just because it's very hard to keep things together in this league. A lot more player movement. Me, Klay, and Dre, we have complemented each other so well for so long. We all brought something different to the table, so we'll see. Records are meant to be broken. Dynasties come all different shapes inside of us, so we'll see. And I agree with that. Keeping a dynasty is going to be so hard. You can't really build a 3-player team anymore. It's going to be very tough to keep it over the 5, 10, 15-year period that the Warriors have because of these new aprons and people getting paid fat. Yes, the salary cap goes up, meaning you can get more money, but holding the players together is a bit tougher. In terms of the dynasty, people thought the dynasty was over in 2019, and then they won the championship again in 2022, defying the odds. That's 11 years of almost 12 years of championship relevancy built around a certain core. And that core is gone, and that's why Klay will be welcome back. Rafters will have his jersey, and his name will be on a statue, and of course his likeness will be out in front of Chase Center. In terms of staying with the Warriors, Curry said this, I can clearly say I want to be a Warrior for life. It's always been my goal, and I'm saying that sitting in the chair right now, but like you said, life, and especially life in NBA, it's a wild environment, and things can change quickly. From his interview with Yahoo Sports. It makes perfect sense. He's been with us for basically a decade and a half. He signed with us until 2026. He's extension eligible this year, put another year on the 2027. Steve Kerr ends in 2026, so we'll see what happens if they sign on. But I would love for him to be a Warrior for life. In terms of Klay Thompson, not having Klay, man, it still hasn't really sunk in. Just because you've been doing it for 13 years together, and you know, Steve Kerr made this joke. Sometimes you really can't find Klay in the offseason. You don't hear from him. Then he shows up at training camp ready to go. I have this idea he'll be here in October, show up, but it won't happen. And this is sad. Obviously, basically, they played their whole life together. Klay, 3 years, $50 million, Dallas Maverick. In terms of the organization, was Steph able to help potentially sway to bring Klay in? It's like this thing of, oh, the Steph won it. The Steph talked to the organization. Like, if you know basketball, you know how this works. Like, I know what's going on. I know all the ramifications of every decision. You know I'm not making decisions, but you know you want to be collaborative kind of approach. And he talked about, or excuse me, the news came out that Klay told Steph not to use his influence with the organization to try to help them sweeten the pot to keep Klay. He wanted to be genuine from the Warriors. Steph said, you know what? He may have said that, and I may have listened, or I tried my best to keep Klay and keep him with this big three. Having Braun as a teammate is surreal. Now we're talking about Team USA because we've had so many battles back and forth. You admired his game. You know what he's about. See him work up, close, and personal. I'm excited to see how our game complements each other. And supposedly, we'll find out they may be in the starting lineup. Wednesday, they play Canada in a tune-up game. In terms back to the Warriors, I want to be in the best position to make that winning happen. Doesn't guarantee anything. But until that changes, and I feel the energy changes, and I go about my business the same way, and that's where I'm at. Some nice comments from Steph and Curry right there. And then, of course, Steve Kerr is right there saying the same things. And we talked about the press conference yesterday, what he said about thanking Klay, and to be really sad not to have him. So that takes us to topic 2 of the day, Paul George. Paul George details his contract negotiations with the Clippers. LA's first offer was 2 years, $60 million. And he said this came early in last season. And he was offended. You kidding me? $30 million per year, not multiple years after 2? 3-4 year deal? Offended. He then asked for the same contract as Kawhi during the season when he saw what Kawhi got. 3 years, 152-ish million, something like that. Asked for 3 year, 150 million with a non-trade clause after the season. So very similar. So 3 years, non-trade clause, meaning he will be a Clipper for life. Clippers want him for life. He wanted to be in LA for life. Didn't get that. They did not give him a non-trade clause. So he said, final ask, 4 years, 220. Well, if you're going to trade me, because there's no trade clause, then give me 4 years. So if I get traded to a different team, I'll know I'll have my money. They said no to all that. And that's why he's like, you know what? At this point, I feel like I need to leave this organization. There's some bad blood here. It's frustration. I don't want to bring this to the team. Best for me to go separate ways in the Clippers. He also confirmed, again, this is what we're talking about, it would have been dope to be a Warrior. I thought the trade was happening. It was his preferred destination. However, it did not go through. The Warriors wanted to give him a 4-year extension. They believed that they had it. Steph and Dre were 100% in. Clippers never agreed to any version of the trade, and he's a free agent. Apparently, there was potentially CP3. His $3 million was needed to bring over Paul George, Moody, GP2, and some type of picks. If you want to dive deeper into that, I have a bunch of videos around what the trades were. You can look it up. But Paul confirmed the rumors that he was almost a Warrior, which would have been really cool for us if you wanted someone who is a second scorer, a bit older, someone who is reliable. He played 70-plus games this season, was hurt a little bit before that, but could have been a big 2 of Steph and Paul George. Keep Kuminga ideally, played 3 then. TJD 5, Draymond 4. That could have been your starting lineup, but giving up draft picks and too many players would have hurt our depth. Speaking of depth, we've done a great job in free agency, which takes us to the third part, looking at free agency. So this is where we're standing at right now of all the free agents who have signed, and we're going to break it down into the free agents who have not signed. So Derrick Jones Jr. left to go fill the the Paul George spot in the Clippers. Kelly Oubre to the Sixers. Again, Paul George is going to the Sixers as well. Tyrese Maxey got his bag. Just some other ones. Center Jalen Smith is going to the Bulls. Could have been a nice place for the Warriors to get a center. Isaiah Hartenstein, was talked about potentially a Warrior. However, he's going to the Thunder. They're going to be stacked next year. Tobias Harris leaves Philly and is going to Detroit. Again, we talked a lot about the marketing trade. Derek White gets his bag with the championship Celtics. Klay Thompson we talked about. Batum is staying with the Clippers. LeBron James opted out and is going back in. Warriors signed DeAnthony Melton. Guard player for us. Good on the perimeter. Defender. Can shoot. Jason Tatum got the biggest contract in NBA history. And Mo Bamba could have been with us. Power forward-ish, going to the Clippers. Donovan Mitchell, contract extension with Cavs. James Wiseman, a lot of people talked about him. He's not staying. He's staying in the Midwest. Indiana Pacer. Moritz Wagner is returning to the Magic, 2-year deal, $22 million. I saw people say, what about the Wagner brothers? Well, Moritz is going back to Magic, and then Franz just got a 5-year, basically supermax deal, staying with the Magic. Jonathan Isaac potentially with us, staying with the center with us, staying with the Magic. So you can see a lot of these big centers aren't coming to Warriors, but we got Kyle Anderson. Damian Lee is returning to the Suns on a 1-year deal. He is Steph Curry's brother-in-law, married to Steph Curry's sister. Joe Ingles was with the Warriors. Excuse me, with the Warriors. No, was with the Magic, is going to the Timberwolves. Good fit there. Alec Burks, a former Warrior, going to Miami. Buddy Hield, again, coming to us in a sign and trade. So you can see the Warriors have done some stuff, a little bit more active in free agency than other teams. And again, Franz is going to the Magic. Malik Beasley, Detroit. Caleb Martin, a nice role player, going to the Sixers, getting his bag. Bridges is staying in Charlotte. Oops. And then, of course, Kings get DeMar DeRozan in a sign and trade, which takes him probably out of the marketing sweepstakes. Daniel Theis is going to the Pelicans. So those are the players who have signed at this point in time. Now let's go to the current free agents. Let me make this bigger for you. So we really, still think, need a center. We have a nice job here with TJD and with Looney. However, I want someone bigger who's really a rim protector. I mean, Boban would be great, but he doesn't play a lot. He's 35. He doesn't move around. He really is more of a glue guy for the locker room at this point. Bull is not really a strong center, like physical type. He's a tall guy who plays around the perimeter. But 7'3", he would block shots. Moses Brown, James Huff. Robin Lopez, I think, would be the best right now if we could get him. 36, a bit older, but he really could help stretch the floor for us, the center, and be a rim protector, be in that paint. So I think he could be a nice fit, come in and play when needed. Oops. Alex Lynn did a nice job for the Kings when he played. Didn't play as much as you thought, but he gave the Warriors some fits when he was playing. Same with JaVale McGee, former Warrior, up to 36 now. Hasn't played a lot the past couple years, but did well in our system. We kind of brought him back to being relevant in the NBA. Could do something similar again. DeAndre Jordan was with Denver, hasn't done a lot. Only 35, but again, good at the rim protection. Kind of doesn't move as much anymore, but could be, again, someone just needs to come in and be an enforcer for us on the back end of the bench. Bolden is actually signed to the Warriors now. We talked about him in the Summer League. Gallinari, small forward at 6'10", could be a good shooter for us, but we kind of logjam at that position. Let me grab this. So now you're starting to see not many names you may recognize. Sarge was with us. Not anymore. So if you see someone, Taj Gibson, a little bit older now, 39, let me know if there's somebody that you see. Feel free to pause this if you need to. I've seen some people say the Morris brothers. They haven't played a lot as well. 6'9", it's more of power forward than center. Tristan Thompson's only 6'9", but he plays bigger. He kind of brought himself back with Cleveland, did a nice job there. He's only 33. Surprisingly, you thought he'd be much older. It feels like he's older. Could be a nice back of the bench player, improved. He can do stuff, helping the locker room. Usman Garuba, we brought him up from the G League. He's someone who they say is very similar to Draymond Green, that type of player. Unfortunately, he's not with us right now, free agent. I'd love to bring him back, but he may be looking for more of a starting role. Just kind of going down. You see Giannis's brother right there, Thanos. People asked him, what about Hayward coming over? We're just logjam at the forward position, guard position, wing position, that stuff. Kevin Knox is signed to the Warriors G League right now. He's playing with us in the Summer League. He had a nice showing. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, a little bit outdated. DeMar DeRozan is obviously a king now. Former Warrior right here. He won a championship with us. Became the first Mexican heritage player to win a championship. Juan Toscano Anderson. James Harden's going back to the Clippers. So yeah, I think we'll pause there. I think you're getting a good idea of what is out there and what we need. So I would like to get a center. Robin Lopez, I think, could be a nice fit in this system. And let me know your thoughts about what Steph said. Let me know your thoughts about the Paul George situation, any free agency. And again, our job here is to keep you updated on the breaking news, the Summer League, the team, anything that's happening, Warriors land. And we do that here on a daily, hourly basis. We'll see you on the next episode.